Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode, hold your breath, episode 121, a 2 sandwiched by 2 1s of Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Kadis, and today, like every day, I don't have a clue in the slightest what we might get into. I hope it's good, energy. I hope you realized how silly I think that I sound when I say things like good energy. And then furthermore, how silly I feel that I sound when I talk about how silly I feel I sound. Oh boy. I'm trying a little bit more of a zoomed in angle here. Also, if you didn't notice, we're outdoors. I loved yesterday's episode. I'm not sure if it was because we were in Wilmington. Not sure if it was because I got my motorcycle in the background. But I felt a bigger sense of pride and a more sense of right, both in the doing and the after the doing. So here we are, outside again. And also, who wouldn't want to be outside? First and foremost, I've always loved this little part about where we live. It's an apartment, and there's not you kind of have to find the things to love about it because it's kind of an old building. The water pressure isn't great. A lot of stuff's broken. It can smell from time to time. You worry about maybe there's mold happening, or why is this piece of trim missing? But it's these things. This porch. This is my window to my room. And right outside my window is obviously the front door. And then you can't see it, but above is a roof. So I feel like it's really cozy on any day. It's really cozy knowing that I have this sort of halfway point where it's that's inside for sure, right? It's air conditioned, but then you step out here and you're not fully outside yet. We're up on the third story, so you're kind of elevated from I'd say a majority of the bugs and the critters and stuff like that. And you're also met with this very nice roof. So it can be raining or, my favorite, very sunny, and you're provided with this shade, this protection. And it's you get to be outside without having to suffer through some of the things that outside can bring. I love it. And I also love that we're filming this episode here. I think this is going to be a great episode. I want to quickly make a note that I have noticed one of our recent episodes surpassed 100 views. It has been a very long time since a video of mine in landscape mode has, a real YouTube video, the one that we're all here to become successful off of. No one wants to really tell others that I find majority of my success through short form content that is vertically, because I feel like short form stuff is kind of a little bit more gross in nature, at least comparatively, right? Because, and maybe this is just me, but it's a more brutal kind of addicting. Everything's addicting in some sort of sense. Some things more than others. And, it's a banana is much less of a addicting thing than gambling. I know people, and I've been someone that has really loved bananas, eating them every day. And just, I love my banana. My banana is my banana. But there's something about that addiction that is more self-taught, self-administered, and more controlled by the self. It's almost you don't have to think about it, and you probably don't think about it too much. And it's it's a banana, and it's good, and you either eat it or you don't. And sometimes you just find yourself on a long streak of eating bananas. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, gambling, we'll say, or we could even get more extreme with it and go as, let's use nicotine. Nicotine is more of a toxic addiction in the sense that it's not really something that is safe to let fly in the back of your head. Nicotine requires a lot of thought by the user, and that's cool, and it's cool for things to require thought, but then again, it wouldn't require that thought if it wasn't harmful. It decreases your health, and it can take a toll on your lungs, and it can increase risk of cancer. So it's like, if you let it go, like no biggie, who cares type of deal, like you do with the banana, you might find yourself in this like state of like dependency that a banana wouldn't bring. And now you're thinking, Jack, why are we comparing bananas to cigarettes? Well, I'm attempting to compare long-form, thought-out content to short-form, vertical, attention-grabbing shorts, reels, whatever you want to call them, TikToks. Now, it's important to understand that this is not a very black and white comparison. You could start more higher up in the pyramid, like comparing two different types of long-form landscape YouTube videos. For example, Animagraphs, which you should definitely check out, just released a video on is it the Hoover Dam? I believe so. And it's fantastic. He 3D modeled the entire dam himself, and then has a milky voiceover for an hour, a little bit over an hour, where the camera will just zoom, show different aspects. I never knew how complex and amazing the Hoover Dam was. There's all of these tunnels that you don't actually get to see from the exterior, and it's a great video. It is by no means manipulative. I mean, maybe in some sense, maybe I've grown to become so attached to that sort of media that like I'm almost biased. Maybe it is manipulative of my attention, to be honest. And I guess actually it would be. But from the point of my view, and I just want to stick with this so I can actually get somewhere here, I literally learned something. I don't know it's not like I really came away better. Like I could have been doing this, or like becoming, doing something like exercise or something instead of watching that video. But when you compare that sort of video to maybe more of like I don't know. I'd be quick to name a creator or a type of video style, maybe in a time where I hadn't been making videos myself. Now that I make them, I kind of am able to see a bit more through the eyes of all these people that are pushing out content. And I can't actually name somebody that I think makes bad YouTube videos. It's more of like I guess what's happening here is I'm speaking externally about all this, but in reality, this is more of like a self-assessment. And I'm just trying to figure out here live on camera what I think I should be making and what I feel good about making. And let me tell you, right now I feel pretty damn good. If you go and you watch my 10-minute video today and you compare it to yesterday, I think there has been a vast, ginormous improvement. And that is what it's all about. It's about going from one day to the next and improving it. How did I improve it? Well, usually, lately, my 10-minute videos, so every single day I make one episode of Keeping It Real, that's 1 hour. I make one 10-minute YouTube video. I put out a minimum of one Instagram Reels, and then I produce 12 YouTube Shorts, 8 of which are scheduled for the 8 days following the current day. And this goes live on Spotify. And then I have the JackKadis show, which is entirely separate from this. That is a bit more loose because I want to experiment with not being so strict on like a daily schedule. I'm aiming for and hoping that I can produce and upload one episode of that show every week. And I actually am trying to make one short for the JackKadis show every day. And that goes live on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And actually Spotify has clips. It's in a beta form. And I'm not exactly sure. I had trouble with the website. It was hard for me to find where I could upload another one. So right now I only have one live. And because it's in beta, I'm not sure that it's even live. Maybe somebody can tell me if you're someone that listens to this sometimes on YouTube, sometimes on Spotify. When you go on Spotify, can you... I don't have the app on my phone. Can you... Like, is there a place where you can scroll? Like, what? because I uploaded something to that, and I'm not sure if like it's ever going to be watched or what. But I just thought it was worth mentioning. Also worth mentioning, in the sense of like, what should I be making? There's also further to discuss. How should I be acting? As I continue to do what I do, there are more comments, more likes by more accounts, and more distractions, I think is what is the right word. I got a DM from an account where the profile picture is a pretty girl. It says her name is Lara, Lara, and she sent me a message that said, "I love your podcast," or "I love your show." I don't know, something like that. Exclamation or period. I think it was podcast. "I love your podcast." And then she said, "I'm from the UK!" Exclamation mark in the same message. And she followed me, and this is on Instagram. So she must have seen the show through YouTube or whatever, and then clicked the link in the description and found me on Instagram and sent me a direct message. And, like, I mean, let's be honest, like, what are you going to think? Like, what's going to go through your head if all of a sudden you get a direct message from what seems to be a pretty girl? I mean, I'm like, I don't know, like certain parts of my brain light up and I'm like, feel good about myself. And I think that it's in a way kind of a distraction. And I need to start putting up defense and creating structures within my brain that are not so quick to find the reward in these moments, rather to just assess them. Like, okay, how does this contribute to, how does this contribute? Like, what is this moment really? And then maybe just fire a quick, like, thanks, thank you. And then get out of the chat, rather than like what I actually did is I think because I was so, it was so sick that happened. I spent a while like thinking like, what should I write back? Even though it's not important to what I do. Like, it's important, and like, yeah, it made me smile, but like that, it doesn't. That's the kind of thing that like, that's that little thing. That's that little thing. It's like the little things add up, and will end up, being a big thing later when I look back on, how I took this path and where it brought me. Like, like if maybe I had done this a little bit differently, would it turn out like this? Like, now is now, and now is when I get to decide, like, how am I going to go about these things? How am I going to treat these moments? And I think I want to be more decisive when it comes to interactions like that, when it comes to strangers and people's viewpoints, because I have found that the more that I do this, the more people tell me what they think about it. And that is, put in short, like, all I ever dreamt this would ever be when I initially started. All that I ever thought like that I could ever want from this when I started was like, wouldn't it be great if people just chimed in every once in a while and said whatever they thought about this? And it's so funny how you do something and time changes, and then the goalpost gets moved a little bit further down, and now I'm sort of like, wouldn't it be nice if I pushed it and saw maybe what was next. So that's what we're doing right now. We're pushing it. And now is the part of the episode where I kind of invite silence in just a bit, because I've talked, and the pace of talking I feel has been quite rapid. So now I kind of want to see what might happen, what it might be like if I just let the air fill the space and think about what it is that I actually want to say. Mom, have you noticed I've been texting you more? That's because I want to text you more. I hope your walk is doing good. For those listeners that are unaware, my mom is my biggest supporter. So out of all the things you might decide to message me on Instagram, please don't say that you're my longest and most consistent listener, because you're not. That title is currently, and I think it's safe to say will always be, in the possession of my amazing mom. So that's that. That's that. So I'm going to be moving to New York City in a year. About a year and 2 months. So 14 months from now, this room behind me will be completely empty. The walls will be plastered and painted over. It'll look just like it did when I moved in. There will be about, I think, max 5. I think 5 suitcases max. And I'll have to figure out, I think 5 is the maximum I could possibly try and smuggle onto a train. I may end up taking 2 trips. I don't know. And I will have, it's funny because I went to say ideally, but then it's like I'm thinking so much about how I think recently. It's not like an ideal thing. It's like this is what's gonna have to be. The ideally stuff can come later when I'm like down the road, like when there's even bigger things going on. But I'll have a place. I'll have the keys to, or the meeting schedule with the landlord, whatever. An apartment in the city of New York. This lease will be up. So on Instagram, I started. I think Instagram was in need of a bit of structure. I was kind of a little loosey-goosey on it, and I think it's important to be loose when you start things, because you never know where you want to take them until you just kind of mess around for a little bit. And I kind of just like landed pretty strong lately on a structure for my Instagram reel. There's 2 things now that are required. Actually 3 as of tonight. The first is the use of my drone. I love my drone, and I think that it really helps me capture some of the things that I find really interesting in my life. Like, for example, today's Instagram reel features a awesome shot of just a gas pump. And it makes me so happy that I just get to film a gas pump in the way that I did. Like, it kind of just orbits around, and I love that shot. And I can't wait to just maybe put some little music over it and make that like the start of the reel. But there's the gas pump drone shot, right? And then the second part is I tell a joke. I do this half for my very good friend Tucker Aaron, whomst I recently got to see, and I almost spent the entire 15 minutes I had with him catching up, talking about this, that, without even mentioning. It had totally skipped my mind that I was doing this in part with him in mind. Like, I tell a joke every day. I'm not even sure if I told you what it was. The second thing that I do for him. This is what it is. I tell a joke every day. For a while now, I've been fantasizing within my head stand-up comedy, thinking about how to make my friends laugh consciously, and it's often felt like something that is just out of reach. Like, I'll just sign up for this sometime later, but nah. And Tucker Aaron, when we were in high school, we kind of just our paths crossed. We used to get really high together. I was a pretty bad influence on him when it came to that. I was always like, "Come on, dude, let's do it." And he was a really smart kid. Intelligence shows itself in very strange ways. I feel, and he very much had that thing about him where others might, say "Oh, he was so smart." Where I think that a certain person would find it, natural to make fun of him. And I thought that was I thought I loved Tucker so much ever since we were actually very good friends in elementary school. Funny enough, so he's probably like genuinely the longest. No, it's hard to say. Anyway, sometime in high school, I remember hearing that he had signed himself up for stand-up comedy and he was going to do a routine, and he did the routine. Now I didn't go. I can't remember if I saw videos or not, probably. But I forgot everything from that time period. I was so damn stoned. But I do remember how cool I thought that was, and how cool I thought he was, because it was like something that he thought he wanted to do, and he did it. And I just thought that that was so cool. And it was stand-up comedy, and he, I knew Tucker. And I knew without even having to ask or hear from him, but I'm sure I did eventually, that he wrote down jokes, and he really gave that his all. Even though it was just some open mic somewhere probably, he wrote jokes down. And that's always, not always, but I've grown into lately, as I've said earlier, this idea, I haven't grown into this idea. I guess I have, where I want to be more conscious about my effort to make others laugh. I feel like I've been laughing a lot lately, and that's great. But it's also really great to, I think there's a beauty in extracting the laugh from another. So I've been doing my best to just take a little bit each day to be a little bit more conscious. Today, my joke was a little bit strange. I've been thinking a lot about punchlines recently. And how, what it means to have a punchline. I think, you get wrapped up in perfection. So you look at the knock jokes and stuff that has a, proven formula, and but then, then you're not, I think comedy is very much found in character and voice, and it's not, I've been starting lots of new things recently. So here we go, starting a new thing, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, don't take it too seriously. You have guidelines, so just, be loose with it. You get what I'm saying? Just be loose. You never know. It's all about developing style. So, you're not gonna, they might not be funny out the gate, but you might be passionate, and that's okay. That those things can happen. You can be passionate about what you're doing, and it cannot be good. That's totally cool. Just be loose. So today my joke was, I'm gonna retell it again, because I've actually, this is the third time I've told it, and all three times I've actually been on camera. The first time was in my 10-minute video. The second time is on the Instagram video where it counts, and the third time is right here on Keeping It Real. Have you ever said anything and the room goes quiet, right when you say it, and the words kind of leave your mouth and they hang out there in the air, and no one catches them with their words, and you're kind of just frozen in this moment, watching your sentence, your phrase, your word kind of hang there, and you're thinking to yourself, damn, it's kind of like this word you said, or this phrase you uttered out as like a uncle or a cousin or something, and it's just in shackles in the back of a bus heading to jail after trial. It's not you. It's not a big deal, but it's it is your uncle, your cousin. They are going to jail. You kind of feel like it's kind of falls back on me a little bit. We are related by blood. It's kind of. It's not good to think about. You don't really know how to think about it. It never really happened before. You're just kind of damn, wish I could have done something. That's how it goes. See, I don't know. All three times I've told it, I think I might have gotten it good the first time, but I don't know. I'm not sure how it ends. Which is good. Because if you're on stage, you kind of just, I feel like a lot of the best comedians, or some of the best comedians, they're very off the top with things, especially in recent years. I've come to understand that crowd work is very popular, and that's, you can't script crowd work. But that was my joke. And then for New York City, what I did was I looked up when my lease ends. That's July 23rd. And I looked up how much a train ticket costs, which is going to be anywhere from $75 to $200. And that's what I did when it comes to moving to New York City. So behind these doors, I have taken my big table and I have set it up in the living room with the help of my boys. And there are 4 computers set all around the table, and we are playing Minecraft in hardcore mode until we beat the Ender Dragon in one go with no one dying. I'm worried about this because the guys keep dying. I have to say, we gave it about a solid 5 hours today, with a break for dinner, and your boy didn't die once. All right, they all think that I'm the worst, that I had the least experience. I've never killed the Ender Dragon. This all might be true, but you know what else is true? I'm not the one holding us back. All right, Jose, I'm looking at you. You've died like 3 times, dude. You've died 3 times. You need to get it together. All right, you need to craft your armor, your shield, and then utilize them. Do not put yourself in bad situations. It is hardcore mode. These mobs will take your hearts down faster than you can blink and breathe. All right. We're going on day 2 of this now. And I really need to see some progress and some light at the end of the tunnel today, because Zach goes home on the 2nd of May. And, we have to beat this game. This is it. I've been waiting for this moment for a group of guys to be able to do this with for so long. I can't let it happen. I can't let us not. I can't let the Ender Dragon live. Okay, now if you don't mind with me, I'm gonna probably sit in silence for like a solid 5-10 minutes. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. As a reminder, this is episode 121. That's a 2 sandwiched by 2 1s of Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Jackkadis. And I thank you for being here. Really, I think a couple things, right? The first is I think you're making the right choice by listening to this. And, you might think, like, really? How can you say that? Because I don't think there are any wrong choices. There's mistakes and failure, but it's strange how even those we are in control of defining. What does it matter what someone else says to you? Of course it matters. But at least to me, it matters more who people are to me. And I don't mean that as in like, how do people treat me and what can people do for me? More of like, who is someone? I try to remove the me from it, to be completely honest with you. I mean, if we're dealing with the same amount of complexity that I found within myself, then you gotta respect. You just gotta. And I try. Respect comes with effort. You gotta be intentional about the way you think. It's tricky, because what's easy might not be best. And that comfort that comes from just saying that I'm intentional about the way that I think, and even if I am being, even if it's just as true as it is said, intentionality is not always, solution oriented. That's where it gets tricky and stressful and hard to be intentional, because how can you even begin to like what are we talking about here, solution wise? You should look up this famous clip. It has nothing to do with this, but I just said the word wise and I thought of it, and the boys and I have been laughing about it. It's this old lady. She goes, "Can you bless me with something money wise?" It's very, very funny. It is pretty cold out here. I've got my arms crossed, and like it's pretty freaking cold. Like I'm gonna want to go back inside. It is pretty fucking cold. What do you say? What do you say? What do you think you might say if you were doing this? If the camera was on you and you had the mic? What do you have to say? Do you have anything that you think might be nice to say, but you have no one to say it to? You call me. Send me an email. I'll send you my phone number. I'm sure you do. I mean, hell, I have things that I want to say that I feel like I can't even tell keeping it real. And that's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, it's almost a privilege to not have anyone to tell anything to in a weird way, I feel like sometimes I force things out of myself and keeping it real, and like, why force? Why force? Who's to say it won't flow out in tomorrow's episode? Why you got to force something out? Like, who are you helping here? Probably ain't fun to listen to, and it definitely ain't fun to say. Take a deep breath, realize that the whole reason you do this is so that you can do it again tomorrow, and to see what might happen. Man, right now I'm feeling so euphoric, so like happy. The sun is rising, and I'm thinking like, dang. Like, the more I do this, the more I feel like people are actually starting to see that this could become something. And I know I get like this sometimes, and I shouldn't. So I won't. So I sent my dad. Okay, so my dad gave me a movie recommendation, which I'm totally stoked to watch. It's Tom Cruise. It's from like 2004 or something. And it's like some action movie by the looks of it from the poster. I can't wait to watch it. Whenever he gives me recommendations, I actually backed up now. He has 2 recommendations out to me that I haven't seen the last thing he recommended to me. But yesterday, geez, was it really yesterday? It was. Wow. Yesterday night, I was at the very end of Johnny Mercer's Pier in Wrightsville Beach, Wilmington, North Carolina, United States of America. Earth, solar system, Milky Way galaxy. And I had I didn't want to fish. All right, sue me. I didn't fish at all. It was like our 4th or 5th fishing outing of the trip, and I was just like, I don't want to fish. I wanted to just watch a YouTube video and space out, And actually, not even necessarily space out. I kind of wanted to, like, pay attention to a YouTube video. Sometimes YouTube hits like that, hits different. And sometimes YouTube, when I'm watching it, it actually feels like I'm studying for what I do, which is this. But that's rare. And I find that only really happens when, like, I'm really taking a break from it. Like, that probably happened yesterday night because the full 24 to 30-something hours before I opened YouTube and watched that video, I was off YouTube. It's often the breaks from things that help us realize how much things mean to us in the first place. So here I am back on YouTube, sitting on the edge of the pier, and I clicked this video from one of my all-time favorite creators. If you want to see, you guys know me. You know my inspirations. Casey Neistat, the Godfather, most people refer to him as, of YouTube. Michael Stevens of Vsauce. God, he's amazing. Then there's Imp Lemon. EMP Lemon. He makes some of the best movies of all time. I mean, the script writing is immaculate. The imagery, the research, it is just so beautifully woven together. It's what it's all about. I spoke with my mom once about how sometimes she felt like she was inside my mind when she listened to this podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, if that ain't something that I'm somehow learning or learned from this man, Imp Lemon, I mean, every single time I watch one of his videos, I feel like I crawl into his skin. He is so damn good at what he does. His everything, it's so polished. He works so, I mean, I love his videos. And he just made one. It was about the movie Office Space. Came out in 1999. He went through. I won't spoil it. He talks about when and at what point of his life he saw the movie, how it helped but altered the trajectory of who he was, and what the movie A means to him, and B means to society, and C means in general. Like all three, like big punch. Pack a punch questions. And I was glued to that screen the entire hour. I mean, that video was so amazing. And it really hit home for me. So before it even ended, I was thinking about all the people I was going to send it to. And one of them was like, my dad. Recently, I went and I saw where he works. And your dad is like, especially if you're me, the oldest son, your dad is like life's blueprint, like I know life doesn't have one of those, and there's no right and no wrong. Like it's literally just like this crazy life that we all get. But like, if you were to, pick something in my life that was like an example or a rough outline, a template, it would be my dad. The sperm that grew me. Gross. And I went and saw where he works. And in a previous episode, I was kind of talking about how it made me think about Severance. And yeah, it did. But no, it wasn't like eerie. It was actually very warm in that office. And like the smiles that I gave and got from his coworkers were smiles. And they, there was no Mr. Whatever his name is, or like, it was not Lumen. That was a bit, sometimes I say things. I'm very much in the business of making people feel things. If you get what I'm saying, like I very much believe that like there are no wrong feelings, just that it is right for people to feel things. So I often over-exaggerate. I often tell high tales, purely to invoke emotion, because I that's what I mean. I'm trying to figure out what, how I fit and where I am in this world, and that's I just feel like that's a big purpose, a big reason that I'm here is to just like help people like just, feel shit, if that makes sense. And I don't know if like, I've always felt like, for some reason I felt like, I don't know, I sent that video to my dad, a video about Office Space, a movie that, was way before its time and makes a commentary on the working class and capitalist America. And it's like the guy that is, narrating and telling that his personal story is, makes YouTube videos now for a living. And the movie helped him figure out that a desk job wasn't for him. And I sent it to my dad. And I don't know why I sent it to my dad or what I was thinking when I sent it to him. And to be honest with you, I don't know if he'll ever watch it. I've sent him YouTube videos before. Nothing like this one. And I don't know. He's never told me like, oh, I watched this one and it was awesome. Because like he's busy, and I'm busy too. I actually haven't watched 2 of the movies that he sent to me. But I want to know what he'll think about it. And to be honest with you, maybe I'm weighting what he thinks about it pretty heavily, and I'm not sure why. Dude, I think my dad is fantastic. My mom too. I mean, like, they're so cool. Like, my mom has a garden in the backyard. What? When did, like, all of a sudden there's just a garden? Like, when did that happen? Like, and like the plants are all alive and thriving, and like there's these things that these vines are gonna grow on, and like the grass is like a collection of moss and, you know, like different kinds of grass, and it feels good on your feet. And like there's these 4 beautiful planters and this pretty wooden stool that sits in the middle that you can move around. And all these plants are like going to grow into vegetables. Like, what? 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 And my dad has this great group of friends, and he is totally like relaxes with like he likes like horse races. He likes to watch horses race, which is just like cool. Like who do you know that watches horses race? I don't fuck, you know, like my dad's the only person that I know that watches horses race. Like, what? Why would you want to watch horses race? I'm just lucky, man. You know, I'm so lucky, man. Cause like, I'm just lucky. Like, their parents had to have been pretty damn cool, and their parents' had to have been pretty damn cool, and their parents' like I just lucked the hell out, you know. I want to have kids, dude. I do. If you're curious, I know you're probably screaming into your headphones, screaming at your TV right now. Jack, you gotta tell us. Jack, please. You're on your knees screaming. Jack, do you want to have children? One day, maybe. Jack, please. We gotta know. We have to know. We have to know. Do you want to have kids? Jack, please tell us. Please. We're dying. Okay. My disciples. Calm yourselves. Please be seated. As it pertains to the matter of offspring, I am interested. That's all I have to say. I think my friend Sam is closer to having kids than he realizes. He's asleep right behind this door. And in a couple months, maybe half a month, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 2 weeks, you know, you never know. Well, 2 weeks is half a month. He's going to, you know, him and his girlfriend are finally going to settle on a place. They've been apartment hunting for a couple months now, out in Durham. And they're going to move in together. He's got a stable job. And I think I heard that she had like an internship. I'm pretty sure she's going to have one too. And I mean, I don't think he understands how close that he really truly is to having a kid. I feel like he thinks that it's like he keeps he's telling me like you ask him about it, and he's kind of like, oh yeah, I don't think about that sort of thing. Like when are you gonna propose to her? Like, oh yeah, it was 4 or 5 years. Like, I don't know, but I don't think he really. I think he doesn't see. Like, I think from the outside view, like, dude, he just recently brought a cat home. His dad, I think, was the one that pushed it on him. There was a cat where he lives that had a bunch of babies. This black cat. And he took one of the babies back here to Raleigh, and now he has a pet. He's a pet cat, and he takes great care of it. He's very responsible with the cat. And his girlfriend loves the cat. I'm sure you can imagine. She's like treats it as her baby. And it makes me think of like my parents. Like before my parents had us, they had dogs. 2 golden retrievers. And even if Sam's estimate is spot on, 4 to 5 years. Like, that's going to be over, said and done with so fast. So like he is about to be expecting a child. I don't think he truly understands that. Or maybe he does, and this is just the way that he talks about it, and I just, perceive it a different way. Like, it's crazy to me, but for him, it's more like, I mean, that's what you got to be, I guess, if you're coming up on that sort of thing, just kind of ready and locked in. I mean, how do you think I am when it comes to moving to New York City? Ready and locked in. It's exciting stuff. I'm stoked for him. And I'm going to definitely be the godfather. Just kidding. Sam has a lot of friends. I wonder, dude, I'm so excited for I'm so excited. I am curious to see how our lives pan out, because I've never had friends like these guys in both a long-term sense. Never been as close with any group of guys for this amount of time that I have been with these guys, right? And Zach, I talk about May 2nd. We got to beat Minecraft before May 2nd because Zach is leaving. Well, he's not just leaving for Asheville, like leaving for home for the weekend, like he does sometimes, or like everyone does sometimes. He's moving out. He's leaving his lease early, and he's moving into his apartment in High Point, which is closer to his job that he got at Volvo. He already found an apartment. So, do with that, I've been doing with that information what I will. Zach's room is about to be empty, and he's not coming back. And lately I've been feeling like, I don't know. Lately I've been feeling like me and Zach have been laughing a lot, man, and it's fucked up. Like, damn. Like, I don't know. Is it so crazy for me to have been feeling like this whole time we were going to live together forever? Like, is that nuts? Sad stuff. But I'm ready, you see this kind of thing coming. I've seen it coming. It's not like it's really, it's going to hit, you can't stop the hit, but we've done it, we've done a good bit. We just took a good fishing trip, just the guys. We got our computers together, playing some good Minecraft, just the guys, and it's important that we're doing this. I feel like none of us are talking about it, but we can all feel it, we can all feel this moment and how much it matters. And I don't know, it's really important. And this is keeping it real. This is as real as I can keep it right now. This is a snapshot. Appreciate what you got. Appreciate what you got. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the end approaches. We are about 30 seconds away from 20 seconds, 15 seconds, I don't know, from the end of the episode. This one's been fantastic. I don't see why I won't do tomorrow's episode in the same place, outdoors. This is awesome. I feel like it's just exciting, and I don't know why I'd ever deny myself excitement in this space. So I'll see you then. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments, especially that part where I was quiet. Be honest with me. Is that the kind of thing that you think is bad for business? Is that bad? Like, should I not be quiet? These are the kind of things that I'm really, in all things, I'm asking you for your feedback, always and forever. Because if you don't give it to me, then I'm left to my own devices, and that's awesome, sure, but it's also, anyway, see you tomorrow. Bye.